Next, let's talk about colors. Let's start fresh in our main.py. So I'll delete all of this commented and uncommented code. And at the very beginning, where we have initialized t.turtle, let's write some code before that. So I'll create a screen because sometimes you want to manipulate things on the screen like the title, the size, the width of the screen, the responsiveness. So you want access to your screen. Currently, Turtle just creates a screen for us. But if I want to specifically edit that, I can create one using turtle.screen. So I have a variable now, screen, which has access to the screen object on my Windows or on your machine. Then I can change properties of that screen. So change screen.bg color, and I can set it to look something like black. And if I play this now, the background color of my screen is black. I can also do something like screen.title and then set it to turtle tutorial. So earlier it was turtle, whereas now you can change the title to become something like turtle tutorial. And that is all I'll do for now. Also, I want to set my default turtle speed to just be 0, since I want everything to be instantly drawn and I don't want to wait for that animation. Next, you can change the color of your pen. So for example, if I right now do t.forward and do about 100 units, you actually won't see anything because our turtle is drawing in black. But you can change the ink that the turtle draws with. So for example, if I want the pen color to be something like green, I can do t.pencolor and then set it to green. Now you can see that a green line has been drawn. You can change different colors and create different color components using your pen color. Next, this green line looks a little bit thin, so maybe I want to increase its width. So I can do t.pensize and increase its width. So let's set it to something like 3. So it's much bolder and much more thick. So right now, let's create a square. Instead of just t.forward, let's do something productive. And for I in range 4, we go t.forward by 100 and t.right for 90. So this creates a perfect square for us. And the next thing that we can do is, if I want to fill in the color of this square, since this is a closed boundary space, closed by all 4 sides, I have a definite area inside it. Imagine I want to color that area. I can do that as well. So right after running the code that draws a visibly thick bordered square, I can simply just run t.fillColor and fill in with a color. Let's say cyan. And this is going to start my filling process. Currently, if you just run it, you won't see anything. You'll see that the cursor turns slightly cyan, but it doesn't actually start filling anything. You have to do that manually. So you do that with t.beginFill. So you start beginning to fill, and for I in range 4, you want to loop through that area again to create a new boundary. So forward 100, t.right 90, and then I'll t.endFill. So I'm going to change my fill color to cyan. I'm going to start filling. This means that whatever area I create or whatever closed space that I create between this and between t.endFill is all going to be filled with this color. So currently the area that I'm creating is simply the same square that I created above. So it will create a square over my previous square and then fill it with cyan. So it created the square, then it went over it again, and then created that cyan. So I can set the speed to something like, let's say 4 to see it in detail. So you can see that it fills that, then it fills that, and it creates the color. Next, since we're doing setting the pen color and setting the fill color individually, we can do this at the same time too. So instead of setting it individually like this, you can simply just do t.color and set it to white, cyan. So if you run this, you can see that we get a white border and then a cyan fill. At the very end, this cursor that we see is actually our turtle. So this cursor that we see is our turtle. But in games or in drawings or illustrations, you don't actually want to see the turtle at the end. So at the very end, you want to run something called t.hideTurtle, which will simply self-explanatorily hide our turtle. So it will draw everything, and in the end our turtle disappears, and all we're left with is a box which has the border radius of 3, filled in white, and an inner filling of cyan. So we know the basics of Turtle by now. We can change a few properties, make it look a little bit nicer, and do a bunch of things with it, like loop through different ranges, and also hide our turtle in the end so that we have a full illustration. But we haven't really dealt with the screen yet. We looked at it briefly, but we haven't really explored it. I removed this. Let me bring that back. So we haven't actually explored it properly. So we used BG color and we did use a title, but you can do a bunch more stuff with your screen aside from that. For example, you can set the width of your screen, so screen.setup, and then you can give in the width. So for example, if I want my width to be 800 and I also want my height to be 800, I can set it to that so that my screen is slightly bigger now. Maybe I don't want the height to be as big, and maybe I want the width to be really long. So you can set up a game, or you can set up an instance where you want your screen to be a certain length on default. Obviously, you can resize this, but by default, your size will be that. On your screen sometimes, for example, if you're playing a game, you might want a score variable on the top. Or you might want variables to show what player has how much score. Well, you can do that by simply directly drawing text on your screen instead of having your turtle manually draw shapes to represent text. So the first thing you need to do is pan up, since you don't want your turtle to be drawing all the way to your shape. Then you need to do t.goto and then go to wherever you want your text to be. So for my case, I want it to be 0,260. And then I want my t.color, actually just my pen color, to be white. And then I can change t.write to start writing my text. So for example, I want to say that player A has 0 score, whereas player B has 1 score. I can align this to the center so that wherever our turtle is writing, all of this text will be centered to our X. So this text will be centered to our X. So the middle point of it will be at X equals to 0. Then I can change my font. So I can give in a specific font. For example, I want Arial. I want my font size to be 24. And I just want it to be normal, not bold or anything. And simply after doing this, if I run my program, my turtle is going to go to the top and then draw that out for me.